Namaste. Spirit of love. That's what I want to speak my thoughts on this subject of spiritual love. As we should know, we are spiritual beings going through a human experience. And probably for that reason, we are a composite unit of body, mind, and soul. Body and mind we all understand, but the soul and the spirit is a little confusing. Not little, very confusing. So most of us try to avoid. Anyways, let's see what spiritual love is all about. There are three categories of love. One is physical love, which has a tendency to go towards lust. Then we have psychological or mental love, which is dictated by our emotions. And then we have spiritual love, which goes towards divinity. Now, as the love is connected to physical and mental, it is conditional. Whereas in spiritual, it is supposed to be unconditional. Because the spirit is beyond the body and the mind. And what exactly is love? It's a feeling which seeks unity from one to another. It's a feeling of desire. The desire to unite. It is that bridge between us and everything. Agreed, in physical, you're only concerned with physicality of the other person. Very limited, highly limited. And in the mental, again it is finite and limited because it is connected to our emotions, our attachments, our identifications. So again, that is limited. And in the spiritual, it goes higher towards the divine, where we consider all as one, in oneness, in togetherness, in wholesomeness, in fulfillment, because physical and mental will never provide you that fulfillment. But spiritual love can give. It will never. So we need to understand. We need to know what spiritual love is. If we do not know, then how can we even think about spiritual love, or what it is all about, or what is higher love all about? And that is why we always fall in love. We never rise in love, purely because it's restricted to body and mind. If you really want to rise in love, then you will need to know the spirit of love, the spiritual love, the unconditional love. In the lower, it is linked to passion and compassion. Passion is that intensity of the desire of love. Intensity, passion, passionate. Compassion is selective. The compassionate about a certain area or realm of love. Like, for example, my wife. she's very interested in, or she loves, or she's very attached to dogs. Very compassionate. Any stray dog she'll come across, she'll start petting, she'll start looking after that dog and things like that, and she will take the dog to the vet, give her medicines, etc., etc. But when it comes to rats or cats, no, sorry. So compassion is selective. Selective emotion. Passion is intense emotions. Lust is further passion, increase of passion and physicality. Whereas in spiritualism, it is beyond emotions. It is beyond feelings and emotions, because the spirit does not have any feelings, any emotions. Sorry. Spirit is universal, and so is love universal. That is why we say love is God. In spiritual love, the word used is dispassion. Because in passion and compassion there is sentimentality, whereas in dispassion there is sensitivity. We become sensitive to all that exists as one. All that, whether it's an ant, whether it's a withered fallen leaf on the ground, everything is seen with sensitivity. Because as per spiritualism as well as science, both agree that all that exists is one. We are interrelated, interconnected, interdependent. So, we are all one, connected to each other. Say with air as the energy connecting one to another. So dispassion is what Mahatma Gandhi portrayed, where he considered all sects, castes, religion as one. He was not concerned about who's Hindu and who's a Muslim. He was only concerned dispassionately to all, sensitively to all as one. And he is the one, the only person in this planet Earth who won a war against the British Empire without firing a single bullet, through peace. Through peace. Through discussion. Through compromise. So, material love is dual, meaning physical and mental love is dual. It's connected to happiness and sadness. If there is happiness in that, there is sadness. Why? Because we often mistake attachment as love. Attachment. You see, we get attached to a kith and kin, friends, and we think that is love. Out of that attachment, we have expectations. We have conditions. We have anger, conflict, anxiety, grief, hatred. The duality of love is hatred. You can only hate a person if you have loved that person earlier very strongly, because hate is a very strong emotion. So attachment is often mistaken for love. Lust is often mistaken for love. Infatuation is often mistaken for love. Can you imagine how badly love is mistaken by other emotions? Because love is not an emotion. It's a flow of energy which just flows one way. It's not a two-way traffic. It's just flowing outwards without any expectations of coming inwards. You cannot say, I've loved you for so long and I've got nothing in return. It's not a calculation. It's not a calculation. It's not a transaction. So attachment creates expectations. Expectations create sadness. Also, of course, happiness, but then also sadness, because it is in duality and mind can function only in duality. So, this is how we have different fundamental categories of love. And when you bring in our identification and attachments, expectations arise. And there is bondage. Our love gets bound, chained. There's no freedom in love. We are tied. Whereas in spiritual love, it is totally free, eternal, infinite. There is no end. You can give as much as you want, as much as you desire, as much as you feel, as much as you are sensitive to what is around. So spiritual love is divine, is sublime. It flows in divinity. And if you may ask, since you are sitting here, if there is any question.
How do we cultivate the spiritual love?
How do we cultivate spiritual love? First of all, we have to understand and differentiate love from attachment. If we do not mix up the two, there is clarity on what love is all about. Second, if we feel that we should rise in love and not fall in love, when you fall in love, like I said, it's for the body and the mind, you fall. But if you wish to rise in love, we have to reduce our sentimentality, our emotions, and become more sensitive. Sensitive with grace and respect to all that is around. We will need to surrender our ego. We'll need to accept reality as it is. We should not differentiate too much, calculate too much, analyze too much. We should allow our spiritual love, the spirit of love, to flow without any conditions. With this, I remember a prayer which was taught to us when I was very, very young as a child. A prayer by St. Francis of Assisi. And his last lines, if I remember right, is, "It is in loving that we are loved. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in giving that we receive. And it is in dying that we are born to eternal life." So beautiful. You have to mentally kill your body and mind. You have to die for that spiritual love, for that universal love. Dying means killing your ego, nothing else. It's your ego which gives you that strong identification of demand, of conditions, of calculations, of analyzing. I do this much and you have to do this much in return. Or I want only from your end and nothing from my end. So this is how we cultivate spiritual love. First understand with clarity And then if we wish to rise, bring in that divinity in your acts, in your thoughts, in your feelings, and in your deeds. Thank you. Namaste.